Hello, 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 hello.
Hi. Good
Alright.
evening.
Good evening, everyone. This is Level Up Geek Nights. I hope you guys are enjoying your evening, especially if you're joining us tonight. You'll definitely enjoy. Wow.
Woo!
So tonight is a special night, and we're actually continuing our discussion on Women's Month. That's why we have many ladies tonight who will give their thoughts and hopefully something that we will all enjoy. So guys, welcome again. This is Level Up Geek Nights. This is our regular bi-monthly podcast. And my name is John. I am one of the Level Up crew. I'm the Christian geek, and we are all Greeks here. We're all Christians
Mm,
here. So let me
mm.
introduce you to everyone. Let me introduce my co-host for this evening, our boss man COO, John, who's also John. Say
There's
hi,
also
John.
John. Hello. Yes, I am a John also.
Yes. So of course, our eclectic crew. Wow, eclectic, big word.
Yeah.
Spell mo nga, spell nga.
My God.
Our eclectic crew rather
True.
includes. Who does it include? It includes our ano bang tawag ko sa Bell? Our brand manager. Wow, brand manager.
Yes.
Wow.
Pwede, pwede.
I love it.
Pwede naman.
Social advisor. Charot.
Our social diva DJ. Social DJ. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Former
So we
DJ.
have our social media and brand manager. Yes, Vel.
Hey
And of
guys.
course, oh, wow. Of
What's
course,
up?
we have our Kylo Ren obsessed chef, Ninay.
Woo!
Ito
Kylo,
yung emoji na yung
Kylo,
gagamitin ko.
Kylo Chef.
Hello, hello.
And of course, our chibi otaku, si Maya. Wow, talaga full name.
Maya.
Ito na ba niya?
Alright,
I
so,
love that.
ano bang pag-uusapan natin dyan tonight?
So tonight, as you can probably, or what you probably have seen on yung ano natin, what do you call it? Like cover letter.
Poster.
Uh, preview on our
Resume.
preview poster. We are taking a look at dream men in fiction,
Woo! Ay.
in the Bible, or whatever. Yeah, and whatever. Parenthesis. Romance expectation. So like, saan galing mga romantic expectations natin? What forms the romantic expectations and thoughts of our dear friends, aka the ladies in the room,
Girlfriends.
our girlfriends? What's up?
Medyo nga.
It depends, like how much spice is gonna be introduced. Maybe just a bit might get
It's sweet and spicy.
sweet and spicy. All right. So, how do we want to start this? Paano ba? The comment.
Fascinating.
First of all, they're fictional.
Point.
That's a point. That's a good point. I mean,
You
but I mean,
always want what you can't have.
oh,
Oh.
so. So is
Like,
that the
I'll
reason?
think to
I
that
don't know.
muna.
That sounds very interesting.
Siguro ano din, they're safe. They're safe in our heads.
Fictional men are safe in your head. Okay.
They can't hurt us.
Or
Unless they
can
kill them off. Ah! Joke.
Or unless they marry like another character.
But you
Or
still,
Oh
something.
no.
Did not hear JB's audio.
Oh no.
yeah, mute again.
Sorry, nakamute. Yung kanina lang.
Ah.
Okay, so the question was, just so everybody's clear.
Okay.
Sir,
Sure.
we're
Go.
asking, what is it with men that is so fascinating, fictional men to be specific, that is so fascinating with women. Because the reason I ask this is because number one, the genre of like romance novels and so much fictional men, it's like prolific. Sobrang dami. I mean, you look
Okay,
sa
okay,
any.
okay. Maybe just to start off. Okay, so again, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the biggest things that people are into, and specifically women are into, is romance. Okay, so relationships, romance, because you're not. There are romantic stories that I guess are appeal to men as well. However, face the facts, face the numbers. There's a reason that why the female market is the main market for romantic novels, for romantic movies, and all sorts of romantic whatever stories and what have you material. And it's like obviously there's something there that's appealing to them. So for the purposes of this conversation, we're gonna stick to heteronormative romances, but you know, just to simplify
Gus,
things.
John, you can't say
Uh,
that. We'll be canceled. Just kidding.
we're gonna be canceled as a Christian podcast. Very, very true. But anyway, just being specific, right? So it's generally yung ano. So that's why we used men and women as the cover title thing. But basically, what is it about romantic fiction and presumably the romances in them between characters, and again for the purposes of this discussion, male and female characters, what is there that so drives or makes it so appealing, specific in general but also specific to you ladies here? So Val will
Bigla
take
sa
first. Go for it.
Uubusin na niyan yung mga
Hindi, kasi
reasons.
baka
Wala na tayong
makalimutan.
masasabi.
Hindi, isa lang sasabihin ko, guys, para give chance to others. Um, I think, no, especially for a lot of women who are in relationships, parang there are things that you want your partner to do. And like sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, I'm saying sometimes you have to tell them to do it when like your fictional husbando, he just does them. And
Sorry.
it's like, parang it's appealing because parang it feeds that part of you that doesn't get that want. Na parang, kunwari, si Miho from My Happy Marriage, di ba?
Oh,
Parang, she, she just wanted him to, like, understand her. And it just so happens na buti na lang may sister siya in the anime na parang tinulungan him to figure out. Parang ganon. So parang in real life kasi, what are the chances of that happening, right? Like very, maybe 10%. I don't know. Parang sometimes like a lot of girls, they would like share posts. Parang, wow, ang ganda nito, no? Pero like, it's giving a hint, parang, gawin mo rin to. Ganyan. So parang, yun, like, for me, it's that na parang, you get that thing that you want without asking for it.
okay.
But of
That's a
course, through that
very interesting
fictional
point.
character.
Right. Gets. Hi.
I see
Okay,
Rina
so
nodding, so I would like to hear her next.
Okay, I'm just gonna take from what Marvel said. Na kumbaga yung what we want in a relationship or in a man, yun yung nakikita namin. Okay, for example, in K-dramas, in romance books, what do they do? But these books kasi, they're they're targeted for the female audience. They're written by women. So, if
often
you guys wanna know what women want,
totally a movie in that word, yes. And yeah.
So yeah, the romance novels are are one of like parang ano ba, instruction manual. Kumbaga. Kasi basically, if you watch Bridgerton,
Mm.
there are some, I mean, don't, like, okay, warning, don't, don't, sorry. Pero let's just focus
It's
on like
Triggered,
the
triggered.
romance, on the
yeah, yeah.
stories, okay?
Noted. Noted.
Like not those scenes. Like just sorry. This is the story. It's how you would want a woman, how would you want to woo a woman, basically, parang ganon.
Mm.
So you don't, yeah, the female gaze, basically, in summary. Yun na lang. It's the female gaze.
Mm. Okay, noted. So, just to summarize, or wait, let's go to Maya first before we try to attempt to summarize things.
Okay, for me, it's the single perspective because like these women already have their partners. But I guess I'm going back to that God made women for men. We were made for relationships, right?
Okay.
And women are um more in touch with our emotional, feelings. And when you present us um with literature or media about yun nga, romance and the dream men,
Okay.
it kind of like, I guess, uh, awakens, ayan, awakens a kind of feeling that, I mean, for a single woman, it awakens a feeling that you've never felt before,
Mm.
na and you want to feel that, you want to feel that way, yung pinapakita or yung binabasa natin, it gives us that, uh, you know um fluffy feeling. And you
Okay.
want that for yourself, right? So I guess that's um yung tinatanong nyo na, what makes these kinds of media literature appealing to women is because
Mhm.
it tickles that bone, or
Right.
that want in women na to feel that kind of love or wooing, so that we can feel better, we can we and you also see, and you or read that the women, or maybe the protagonist, or
Mm.
the women in uh the character feels good, and you want to feel good as well.
Mm.
So that's for me.
So, just to recap, um, okay, so I'm kind of coming at this like it's basically emotional fulfillment, right? So,
Yes.
emotional fulfillment from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
It can be for those in a relationship or who've had experienced relationship. It's like, oh, I want my guy to treat me this way,
Mm.
and you want them to treat you in a certain way that really hits what you want, what you want, when you want it, without any cues whatsoever. So
Mm.
that's what I got from Vel, and then and also Ninay somewhat, and tama ba? Like, just summing it up. And then yung kay, from the other side, it's also yung na-mention ni Maya is that also it's like simulating the feelings of being in a relationship. So actually in
Okay.
both cases it's simulation because whether you are in a relationship or you're not in a relationship,
Mm.
you're
Yeah.
simulating feelings based on a, well, fictional scenario of fulfillment. Okay, which is like, oh, this feeds to what I want. This
Mm.
specific configuration in this specific way in this particular dynamic. Okay.
Actually, I want to share that
Sige.
speaking of simulation, because
Untitled.
there, uh, wait lang,
Sorry.
ayun,
May feedback na konti. Ganun.
simulation. I've
Mm.
actually tried one of the simulation games for, what do you call them, otome games.
Ah,
And for, yeah, for these games you have a set of like different um ano ba, different attitudes, different personalities of men,
yeah.
and you
That's
choose
it.
from them, and you choose syempre which one you like best. So you
Mhm.
choose that path, and then meron kayong mga conversations.
Right.
Some otome games, even like you talk to them via text, or it simulates that, and or calls ganyan. So the fact that these games really pinpoint yung wants mo from your partner's simulation, um it already tells us about uh how women want then to like control yung sinasabi nila Vel and Ninay na I want my partner to do this, and you have a set of like choices to choose from, like
Mm.
ng mga bagay na ganun, right?
Right, right, right.
So I've tried that, and it nakakatawa lang kasi I tried it for like fun.
Yeah, of
Because
course for fun. Of
I've
course for
never
fun.
tried Otome games. I tried it once, and I was like, okay, yeah, this path and these conversations, okay,
Mhm.
and it really stimulates nga yung fantasy, yung imagination mo of how you would want someone, or your partner to treat you, to talk to you, to
Mhm.
relate to you. And I guess yung mga ganyang simulation games and
Yeah.
media, it really it really captures uh yung desire ng women from their partners, or from their simulation partners. So it's interesting, but I you know I took it off yung game na yun, because like, okay, this is going nowhere. And it's kind of like, you know
You may love
go
in deep space.
no,
Oh
no,
no.
no.
Okay.
It was
Yeah, that
before
was a
that.
fad online for a while. I saw it
It,
all over the place.
Nina can share about that. How did that go?
I mean,
Okay. So,
Welcome to my
TED Talk. Joke lang. So, okay, there's this game, there's Otome game. It's called Love in Deep Space. It's the newest one. Before there's Mystic Messenger. And
I saw that also somewhere.
it's a dating sim. It's a reverse harem kind of thing. And basically you have all this boys who likes you. And
For
then they're different.
like, yeah.
Yeah, meron, kunyari may tsundere, merong super flirty, merong mysterious guy. It's basically all these tropes. So ako,
Mm.
it'll really feed yung fantasy, your fantasy guy, your ideal guy. So you will really nourish that relationship, that yun nga, what Maya said, that path, kumbaga. And in Love and Deep Space, hello capitalism, kasi naging gacha game na siya. So for you for you to get like the best memories, the best cutscenes, you have to spend money, sadly. It's
Uh,
pero nag-improve na siya in a way that it's 3D models na. And then
Mm.
you can interact. Well, I showed you guys this, and I was and I was like, look, you can talk to them. Like, oh, look. So yeah, it again,
may AI conversation
yes,
power.
there's AI conversation. It's quite actually dangerous then, kasi it's like
It's
a
a simulated boyfriend.
a deeper layer in the onion of fantasy.
Of fictional fantasy relationships.
That if it met me before I met Christ, that I was deep into like other husband, I was like, whoa, it's dangerous.
A whole new
A
world.
whole new world.
Noted. Well
Noted.
noted.
Buti na lang ako mark safe from dating sims. I think the only one that I've played is like this meme-ish siya eh. It's the KFC guy.
Oh my
Colonel
gosh, I know that
Oh,
one. I know that
si
one.
Colonel.
Si Colonel
Yeah.
is in a dating
Siya
scene.
yung,
I'm like,
siya yung
Oh.
what?
guy, fantasy guy. Si Colonel
Okay,
San.
confirmed yung yung gusto mo older men.
Guys,
Okay,
ang
so
ganon.
we're gonna get to that soon. We're gonna get to that very soon. So very interesting. So parang okay, it doesn't sound pero may term kasi that's been popping up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the word that seems to be popping up is there's a certain degree of control to get this. So what do you think about that? Throwing it back at you.
Of
At the group.
control.
Oh,
Ouch, sorry.
before you girls answer that question, let's take a look at the comments kasi marami na tayong comments ngayon.
A quick check on the comments.
Yes.
Okay.
And Kyle says hi from Indonesia. Wow. Hey, Kyle.
Hello from Indonesia.
Alex says, the reasons why women like fictional men is because they have muscles and they're everlasting pogi daw. Trebs. Hey, Trebs. Says romance flicks like The Witcher, right? Basta Henry Cavill. And
Alright.
then, Bridgerton na yun. Joe Beth is asking, is it because romance is usually written by women, for the women? It usually revolves more around women or heroines than the man or the hero? That's actually a very good question.
It is a good point. Yeah, let's try field that first before we get into the question I threw at the group. What do you ladies think?
Ako, I think it's because usually written for a woman, for the women.
By women for women.
Yeah, maybe. Cause like if a woman writes a novel or like writes a movie, like it really hits the spot eh. Pero pag men, parang it's more objectified
Mm-hmm.
yung woman or sexualized masyado ganyan. But
Mm.
if I don't know, cause like kung meron din namang sexual scene sa movie or sa literature, a woman writing that literature, it's, I guess, they know how or what women want,
No,
and
yeah.
it's kind of like pareho tayo ng brain waves ganun, kaya they get women
Well,
ganun.
they
Hey, pero
hopefully they would
there
because
are
they are
also
women.
husbando
Ah.
material men in, I guess, material wrote by men, written by men.
Mm.
Like, yeah, like I'd say like a lot of the anime guys that I like, I mean, they come from stuff that are written by men too. Siguro ano lang, parang dun, I guess the main difference is, for stuff written by women, it's obviously, mas maraming scenes that are about, like the pursuit, versus like if it's just like, say, um, what's that genre called? Sorry, yung pag ano, shonen, right?
Shonen,
It's
yeah.
more about the development of the character of usually a young
Mm.
male. So, yeah, yung, I guess, parang, yeah, pursuit heavy yung romance written by
Mm.
women.
Which is I mean, it makes sense because a lot of the times what women are after is being pursued, right? If in a lot of the fictional content, the guy is chasing after the girl, and that seems to be the case as a general thing for most, di ba?
Raise hand.
Raise hand. Yes.
Okay. So kasi usually the most common depiction of women in male written media or work is the manic pixie dream girl, if you guys know that, like
Mhm.
in
I hate that trope.
diba,
Honestly, I hate
that
that trope.
trope.
I really hate that trope.
I
But
don't know that. Define.
manic
Right.
pixie dream girl is basically, she's the mysterious girl na manic. Okay, so
Think like
she
Ramona Flowers
Ramona
vibes.
Flowers,
Yes,
yeah.
Ramona Flowers.
Or
Mm.
si 500 Days of Summer.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that
Parang
was also my
ganun.
example in my head.
Na she um fits perfectly the male fantasy.
Of
And she's
what?
of ano ba, like okay, perfect. One example is a 500 Days of Summer. It's like, you
Hmm.
listen to the Smiths. I love the Smiths. And that's like, sorry. And that's like one of the things of guys. I don't know. Like, can the males
No, I think
confirm?
One of the
no,
thing,
I
wait,
think
one of the things of guys is like they like what you like.
They like what you like,
I
yeah.
think it's I think the manic pixie girl, dream girl. That's why it's called manic pixie because they're like kind of crazy, but they're also kind of fairy-ish like because they seem to be able to grant any wish that you want, and they're a dream girl because
Mhm.
they check all the boxes, right? So
Yes.
yeah, the girl is kind of crazy, but there's something about her that's just so attractive. That's how
It's
they're written, and then that
uh,
there's she seems so different from everybody else, from all the women out there. That's usually the context, and then suddenly you find out that this girl has things in common with you,
Has flaws pala din.
has flaws, but has things in common with you, and the guy tends to just, oh, I will overlook those flaws because she's like the perfect girl for me, something like that.
all right. So a quick Google, just so that we're using pop culture correctly. Um, the manic pixie dream girls are basically somewhat one-dimensional. They don't have a lot of nuance to them. Their basic thing here is, "Hi, I love you. I'm here to support you, and I don't demand anything from you." That is the main archetype of a pixie dream girl.
That
So
I
they
don't.
don't demand
Yes,
anything from their male partner.
I think
But in
that's.
reality,
I think that's the fantasy.
sorry.
That's the fantasy, I suppose.
I have a sparkle here, right? Ayan.
Wait, your image has disappeared.
Oh no.
Yeah, your camera disappeared.
Oh, let's
Anyway,
fix that.
but I think that part that says oh, there, you're clear now. Good thing
Welcome back.
it's a good thing that there's clarity. Wow. but but what I was about to say is that um I think that's the part where is the fantasy there is that, oh, the woman, I can have a woman that doesn't demand anything from me, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the fantasy.
that's definitely the fantasy.
Mhm.
And I think that's what how a lot of women are written in men-driven rom-coms, that you know
Mm.
they're still cute, but it's not definitely not realistic.
And with that kind of mindset comes the girl from Gone Girl.
Oh!
Oh gosh.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hold on.
Bakit
Hold on.
queen? Joke lang.
Oh, that's
Yung
not
babaeng pagod na.
that's not manic pixie dream girl. That's just manic.
I've never
That's
actually
just basically
watched that, so
crazy.
that's something to take a look at. So ayun. Anyway, so we're actually seeing two very polar opposites. So if if in male fantasy is the girl doesn't really demand anything from you, she's super supportive of everything you do, and she helps you in life. Whereas in the lady side, it's the guy's always pursuing you, and he basically provides you all of the emotional kiligs that you want, all of the, what do you call it? I don't know how to explain it. Yung ano yan? all of
He
the
will die
emotional
for you.
romance and spark and
Basically,
whatever.
I will
provides all.
kill for you. Yung mga ganon.
Yeah, yung tipong
I
they
will
will
go to
lay
war
down
and then
their
marry you
lives.
after.
Yeah.
Wait, I think there's another fantasy to that as well. That they will do everything for you and they would even let go of the things that are important for to them for you.
Oo.
I think that's
So
part of that fantasy. Na parang,
lahat iiwanan nila para sa'yo.
oo. Which,
I would take a bullet for you, ganun.
Yeah.
I think that's also at the same time I think that's the fantasy where I have a guy who will cater to my every whim and he will even sacrifice his own things for me, which is again another unrealistic fantasy.
Well, of course, all of these are unrealistic fantasies. The question really here is, all right. So now that we've settled that all of these are actually unrealistic fantasies, where do we move from here?
I think
Or what is something that we want to move going forward from this point?
let's take a step and check the comments again. Moderator. Um,
Sure.
Patty says, on a serious note, us ladies have to know up to what extent mag-fangirl, she's saying. So, and I get the point. Basically, it's okay to delve into fantasy, but not too much. I think that's what she's saying. Kyle
Okay.
says, obviously, it's the superpowers that the women are into. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Samu says feral. I think Nina understands what that means.
Feral. So,
So, yeah, Kyle says, I think most people want one-dimensional, but only the one dimension they most desire until they desire another dimension. Lol. Which is kind of true. Once they're tired of what that one-dimension thing can offer, they look for something else. I think that's kind of true.
yeah.
It is
very-
true. Can I just say that it's so true? Because I was so deep into Love in Deep Space, but
And
then I got bored.
What? How did that? Okay. You got bored how? Why?
Because siguro kasi talaga naging is this therapy? Charot. Because they're not real, basically. Like, like I spend how many hours interacting, doing the quest, but then then I realize, why am I doing this? why why am I doing this?
Actually, totoo. Na parang after everything, like for example, for me talaga, it's
We're
like
bringing it
TV
into
shows and
3D now.
anime. Like once it's done, parang yun na yun. Like parang wala na. Nothing else really happens. Na parang now I have all these feelings. And parang actually like sometimes nafe-feel ko na parang, like I don't want to say that I pick fights in my relationship. But like sometimes parang when I'm like lying down, tapos may isip ko, bakit parang hindi na kami lumalabas? Yung parang you end up comparing like what's happening, like what you just watched and then what's happening in your reality. So parang really keeping those feelings in check, right? Na parang is it really healthy for me to like consume this? And if so, parang yeah, like what do I do now with all these emotions? Like parang you hype me up for type. So yeah.
I would say the same thing na like yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina na parang saan pupunta to, 'di ba? Parang after everything that you've gone through the content ng Otome game, parang hindi naman totoo what's gonna happen next, and then it it hits you na this isn't real, so I'm probably never gonna have someone like this. and
Woo!
also and also I've read articles that, since romance expectations yung topic natin
Mm.
is that these kinds of, if we didn't manage yung romance expectations natin with the simulation games as compared to real life people, it really, this um disfigures kind of yung how you would treat now yung actual person who is in front of you face to face, like this person needs communication, diba, where in dun sa simulation game is it's always you communicating your needs, right? And basically yung content ng simulation game is catered to you, so magiging it kind of makes you selfish when
Mm.
you make this game kind of like a practice game for real life people, whereas kung if you're now going into the actual relationship, you will bring their selfishness, you will bring their all your wants, diba, self-centeredness. So Patty's right na we should really manage yung fangirling when it comes to these kinds of romance things, fiction, simulation games and whatnot.
This actually brings up a point in my head. Kasi I remember talking to a lady before, and um, and this is her comparison. So the men daw watch pornography a lot because of the fantasy of the women that they want, no, they desire. And so what she says is that not as many women watch pornography, there's also a lot pa rin naman, but not as many women watch pornography compared to men.
Mm.
To them, para sa kanya, romance is the women's pornography because nandun yung fantasy. What do you think about that idea or that thought?
I will ano na lang, apply din what or share what my therapist said to me. Kasi she asked me about I shared to her that I was having trouble with a husbando. This is being vulnerable right now to all seven
Sabi ni
people.
Alex, doon ka na lang daw sa husbando mo.
And she basically explained to me that it is ayun nga, as Alex did say, it's also a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And kumbaga it stems from childhood din kasi, that if you're like the type of child who likes to daydream a lot, and ano, it's your form of coping.
Mm.
And this is kumbaga husbandos and waifus, it's a whole nother branch lang din of fantasy.
Mm.
And it's considered an immature coping mechanism din. Wow, what ano daw, charot. That's so um I do agree with JB to an extent that it can equal to the yun nga, sa porn for men.
Mm.
But also kasi there are explicit romance novels, like dark novels, dark romance novels.
Mm. Adult romance.
Yeah, adult romance na I was surprised that it exists.
Hmm.
I mean, like, okay, you have the 50 Shades, but then there's that plus more, or like
Mm. It takes it a step further.
the high fantasy level. So yeah, just really be careful then. It's yeah, it's dangerous if not properly
So here's a
controlled.
thought. Here's a thought. Because we've mostly been talking about these things, but just to kind of, we're still gonna stay on this, but just to expand it a little, what are all of the other sources of these unhealthy or possibly unhealthy influences? Like, just to make sure we've covered the whole universe of it. Like nowadays, like where does it come from? Diba? it's not just otome games. That's a very niche thing to be true. It's not just novels because unfortunately, not as many people read hardcover stuff nowadays. So ano pa bang yung mga sa inyong experience or whatever, like where is the messaging coming from?
Sorry, can I just add to what Nina
Sure.
said about yung
Oh,
sinabi ni JB? I
go.
think it it being compared to porn maybe has to do with consumption patterns, I wanna say. Kasi parang if it gets to a point where like wala ka na talagang other interest in terms of like genre
Yeah.
material, then maybe that's when it turns to yeah, like parang something that you can possibly get addicted to. Like parang yun na yung buhay mo or like um maybe you guys heard what Nina said about the otome games, right? Like it got to a point where people needed to spend money. So that kind of consumption pattern na parang
Right.
it started with maybe you reading something and then it turns into spending endless hours on it
Mm.
to spending money on it. 'Di ba? So parang I think that could also be a factor
Mm.
on why it might be considered equivalent to porn,
Mm.
but not, I want to say not quite. Kasi parang, I don't know. I mean, meron naman na parang that vibe. But yeah.
I think it's more because like my friend was saying, it's like kasi for men, the reason a lot of men watch pornography, it's the fantasy of this is their ideal woman. So we normally with the idea that parang quote unquote the fantasy of the ideal woman, that has nothing to do with the character of the woman. Generally speaking, that's how the world has been conditioned. No, it's almost like it's just of the flesh. So
Mm.
from her perspective, the romance addresses that same kind of desire in women in terms of it's not about the ideal because the ideal man parang yung physical, beautiful, whatever. Pero yung sa women, it's the kind of romance that she wants in her life. So parang ganun yung comparison niya with
The
terms
kind of
of
emotional connections and
uh,
feeding.
yes.
So women naman, like, okay, we care about the emotional capacity of the man, right? But then, I mean, this is in TikTok, in book talk, okay? And there's this, yung men could be fairies, like literal fairies, yung main guys sa romance novel. So,
Mm.
yeah, I see JB's point nga. Na nakita ko eh. If in the male perspective it's a ideal woman, ayun nga, ideal man, but then we don't care about the physical. Kasi nga, kahit fairies. Like, what?
Mm. It can be anything.
So I guess
Okay.
I think that the progression here is really the question of what is the difference talaga in terms of the dream man or the fictional man versus let's say what is realistic. Ano ba yung parang kumbaga
Yeah.
why is it dangerous as well to parang to be focused too much on the fictional man versus ano parang compared
And bringing
to
it into a reality.
the reality or parang what does the Bible say, I guess? Kung ano yung biblical na concept of romance or of
Or
the kind of
biblical
man,
concept of the ideal man,
of the
actually.
ideal man, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone?
that's an interesting question. What is so moving it along, like from your experience and from your readings and from whatever, what is your understanding of the ideal man from a more mature and biblical perspective na naman? Kasi we've had like all these things. We actually didn't even get into the traits, but we got into some concepts of it. So reality naman. How does it work in reality?
nag-isip po. I guess let's break it down. Why is it dangerous yung masyadong nakafixate sa fictional man?
As someone who has struggled about this for like all nakailang prayer and fasting na ako na ang prayer point ko is husbando. It kasi it can really be idolatry eh. 'Di ba? It takes the spot of God in your heart. All
Okay.
these husbandos. So the danger is you're making them more important than the Lord. You
Okay.
spend the money that you earn to buy merch of this is call out to me to buy merch of these husbandos. 'Di
Mm.
ba? So dapat we should glorify the Lord even in our purchases. So, 'di ba, parang
Good point.
ano na, that's where it becomes dangerous din talaga. And also what Vel said na yung parang biglang iaano mo sa partner mo, bakit hindi ka ganito, ganito, yung ganon. So, yeah,
It fuels like
the selfish.
simulated desires in your
Yeah.
heart.
Mhm.
Okay, which is not also fair because this person here and then suddenly it's like you're creating your own fictional expectation of a person. Okay.
Maya, you wanted to say something?
And also, um, yung yun nga yung expectation mo of it's kind of like aside from idolatry is also not trusting the Lord in terms of for example, as a single person, right? You get into these stuff, you fantasize, uh you expect like these unrealistic romance expectations. It means that you're not when you idolize these things, when you cling on to these kinds of romance expectations, you're not trusting the Lord that he will be able to provide someone, a partner who will be able to um fit yung ano mo, yung kumbaga prayer mo of what kind of man you would want to have in your life. Like if uh
Mm.
if the Lord wills it na he will give you this guy, tapos you already have these unrealistic expectations, it will really ruin your expectation, and you will parang siguro you will hate God for it, because why did you give me this this kind of this kind of guy, diba? I wanted this, but he's not at all like this, diba? So aside from yung idolatry, you're not trusting the Lord for what He is able to provide for you in terms of yung partner sa buhay mo.
Mm.
I think natumbok ni Maya yung yung that idea of unrealistic expectations. I think like
It's a pretty good one.
um
It's a good.
I think for men, kasi for men, we're normally told, and I agree with this, we're normally told about the dangers of pornography includes yung unrealistic expectations. Na parang we 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 start to expect women to be a certain way, to act a certain way, to be ganon, nagiging ganon yung warped thinking namin as men because of pornography. And pag nasatisfy na, we hunger for more, no, something more exotic, something more, parang more and more and more. Naghahanap kami and to the point na parang nothing will satisfy us anymore. Parang ganon. So nagkakaroon talaga ng, so when the real person comes around that's actually good for us, if God gave this person, we fail to see that person because na-warp na yung expectation. And I guess that works the same way with women. If they're so parang engrossed, I suppose is the term, in the kind of expectations that they want from men, na parang the men would cater to every whim of the woman.
Mm.
Ang tanong, does that actually exist in real life? 'Di ba? Parang, and will I as a person be able to accept a guy who is not like the men in my fictional fictional universes, so to speak.
Mm. Good point.
So I guess ang tanong, ano ba ang healthy way to look at it? What's a healthier or maybe a biblical way to look at romantic expectations as
Mhm.
opposed to what we see in popular culture?
I guess the question is, can otome games be redeemed? Charot. Joke lang. Joke lang.
I like the line. Can romantic fiction be redeemed? Ah, there we go. Because otome games are also fiction, basically. And fiction in general, right? So it goes it okay, so just while you formulate your thought, it runs the gamut from telenovelas of both the traditional to whatever's up now, K dramas, J dramas, C dramas, whatever dramas, to the different, you have your trashy romance novels, to the not so trashy romance novels, to the really fancy looking but are still kind of trashy romance novels. I mean, you have all these different things, to like these atomic games, to I mean, it's in so many different things. There's so much out there catering to the wants of whether women or men. So for focusing on the ladies right now. And how in this world full of get what you want instantly, contrasting it with reality, contrasting it with biblical realities and truths, but also biblical encouragements, I'm thinking, of what real things are. How are you taking it? How does it speak to you? How does that speak to you?
Habang nag-iisip ang mga girls,
Habang nag-iisip, we
I
can
will go
check
back with
our
our
chat.
comment section.
Yes.
So
How is
Kyle
our comment?
says, I think what JB saying that porn for men, this is what I want but do not have, so I'll create a fantasy where I have it. Whereas something like an explicit romance novel would have, this is what I want but do not have, so I'll create the fantasy where I have it. So parang in terms of being extremely, ano daw,
Distilling it.
same daw in being extremely covetous because we're wanting something that we don't have.
Yeah, that's true. It's different angles,
Oo.
but you're distilling it down to the I want it that way.
I wanted that way. Kainis. Vince Sising, bakit yung isang palace walang salamin? It ruins the viewing. O yan, nagsuot ako ng salamin para lahat tayo nakasalamin.
Ay, nako. Well, sure.
Sabi ni Kyle, from a man's perspective, it also is one of the key ways us men are objectified. We're compared to the standard of an object that we can't possibly meet up to. It's an impossible leap for us. And when we get into a spiral of self-defeat and self-deprecation, never feeling good enough or right enough, it takes away all the wind in our sails. Which actually, sabi, and Raph says it works both ways. So that's why parang, na parang, because sometimes society, because of these fictional things, create this unrealistic expectation. Parang lahat ng babae kailangan super thin, super sexy, super model body. Lahat ng lalaki kailangan may abs upon abs, pandesal upon pandesal, di ba? Para kailangan
Actually,
ganun. So,
the pandesal thing is actually a very male-oriented thing pa rin eh.
no, pero
But
you
Hindi
look at
ah.
it is, but at the same
I,
time,
I'm
you
not
look,
I'm not saying that there aren't women who don't like that. There are, but it's actually more like there are other things that were important. Kumbaga. But anyway, yeah, meron naman din.
Nawala daw audio mo, GB.
Low.
Nawala yung audio. Sorry. So anyway, there are standards na ano na where ano ba yun yung there are standards where women look at Jesus as their standard. Wala na nakapasa. Si Jesus lang ang makakapasa sa standard. Extreme din yun. But
An idealized Jesus. Well, that's
so,
really hard to.
I mean, yun yung point na ano, parang I'm not saying that striving to be Christ-like is bad. What I'm saying is that there are certain fantasies na parang for men, parang nakakapagod, parang ang hirap i-meet yung expectation na yun. Kasi hindi na siya, to a certain extent, it's not realistic na talaga. 'Di ba? And I think, for me, at least on my head, what I can learn as a guy is, these are the things that a lot of women want. Yung tipong, to do things without being told, to know certain things na parang, yung dapat papakiramdaman mo yung mga may mga bagay na gano'n na okay, that makes sense, it makes sense, 'di ba? Parang these are things na kailangan talaga alamin ng guys, but at the same time parang is it possible for a guy to actually have all of these qualities? 'Di ba? Parang it's in the same manner na parang I have a lot of lists of what I want in a woman, but is it really possible for that woman to have all of those qualities? Hindi rin realistic eh. 'Di ba? Sabi ni Trebs, yeah, we should normalize the monay versus the pandesal.
Meron na akong answer dun sa
Sure.
question.
Okay.
So, I think for me, it really goes to show, no, na we go back to what love means. And I would like to believe that love isn't always, love and romance don't always have to go hand in hand. Badly put, na parang, love can be very practical, right? Like, it's not always, things that could sweep you off your feet kind of vibe. Like, love can be, hearing someone you love say good job, or could be, a simple gesture like maybe sending you a selfie and them telling you I love you. Like, parang it doesn't have to be this like grand gesture na parang like what happens in shows and movies and books and all of that. I think the Bible provides us a really good basis on what love is in 1 Corinthians 13, diba? And I think I read. Guys, sorry.
No, but it's
Hindi,
truth
pero
though. Okay, you know,
Hirap
it's
ng passage na yun, what? 1 Corinthians
kasi
13
parang
talaga?
I read
the truth. It's the truth.
somewhere na parang I think tinanong niya yung parent niya or something na parang how would I know na this person is good? Ganyan. Tapos sabi ata ng advice sa kanya is in 1 Corinthians 13, yung love palitan mo nung name. Kunwari name mo, ganyan. Vel is patient. Vel is kind. And alam mo yon, do I fit in that bill, diba? For me to like expect someone else to be all these things for me. So, ayun, parang I think it's also keeping ourselves in check in terms of understanding what love really means.
So separating what love and romance are, that's a good thought. So the reality is basically I guess you're looking at mas malalim si love kaysa sa romance. Romance is like your feelings. It's like on the levels of feelings, it's momentary, but love is like what carries you through. It's not a feeling, it's a decision. And it's a lifestyle. So yun, parang yun nakuha natin.
I think ang ganda lang ng bringing up ni Vel yung First Corinthians 13. Kasi
Mm-mm.
when you look at it, it really talks about different qualities of someone who is loving. And true
Yeah.
love is not about the emotions, you're right. It's not about what sweeps you off the feet. It's actually the actions. I remember watching,
Mm.
I remember the movie Courageous. Oh, no, no. Not Courageous pala. Fireproof, there we go. Wrong movie. Same production company, wrong movie.
Mm.
I remember Fireproof because the story of Fireproof is about a guy rekindling his the romance with his
It
wife
is
who
wife.
wanted the divorce. And one of the things that I remember in that scene in that movie was that when he really started to understand what it meant to love, he started doing things even if he is not acknowledged by the woman, even if the woman does not know. Because to love is to do things for the other party or for the other person, even if there is nothing in return, di ba? So
Mm.
parang naganda lang na nalala ko doon sa movie na parang he did a magnanimous act of kindness na hindi inexpect ng wife. And ano parang and the guy never said anything to her until she found out later on na parang you did that, parang ano doon na restore yung parang faith niya doon sa husband niya. So
Mm.
parang I think that's really that's the point, no, parang when we do things ano hindi siya because of expectations, no. And I think that's why it's also dangerous in a way. It's dangerous to have these uh, unrealistic expectations in our fantasies. Men or women, both, I think both sides lang naman. Kasi pag hindi na meet yung expectation, ayun na, tapos na. Ganun na lang yun. Move on na lang tayo sa ibang tao. Bye! Hindi ganun, di ba? It's not like that eh. So, because if we did that, then we would never have people in our lives that we can trust and rely upon. No, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about relationships in general. No, we would. Oh, I don't like how my parents are treating me. Alis na ako ng bahay na to. I don't like how this friend group is treating me. Lipat na ako ng ibang friends. No,
Mm.
then we will never have a lasting relationship. My thoughts, anyway.
Hmm.
How,
Ladies.
how about the other women?
I want to hear from the ladies. I'm waiting for them.
What was the question again? Sorry.
So we have gotten very far
I
off
was like,
with our
Ang lalim kasi
conversation
ng
that
question eh.
hindi na natin na ano yung question. Sorry, this is the ADHD podcast. Okay, bringing it back to the question. Okay, just simplifying, super simplifying it. Okay, so we had a lot of talk about yung world, the unhealthy expectations, the unhealthy stuff that comes from the world. Switching tracks. What for you, ladies? What speaks to you from the other side, meaning from a mature side, from the biblical side, with regards to romance? So Vel shared yung Corinthians 13, which is a very powerful verse. It's love. But I kind of think I'm kind of hoping like we can expand from there. Like yung image natin, the image we have of, husbandos and or yung mga idols or whatever, yung first lead, second lead, these come from the world, right? All these things. What are the characters? What are the great romantic characters that we can see from a mature and biblical perspective? And what does that look like? And what should how do you like come into that?
Ako for me, siguro it's more of the perspective of the um, so women when it comes to romantic expectations
Uh-huh.
coming from literature, uh, media, and whatnot.
Mm.
Is that ang nare-remember ko is do not awaken love until it so desires.
Okay.
And this is exactly where romance romance kasi is supposed to be, 'di ba, in a loving relationship, in a committed relationship. So if you're awakening your heart to that kind of um uh to that kind of romance, you know, ibig sabihin parang it's not for you yet. You're not ready yet for that. You're not If you're not ready for a committed relationship wherein you uh you commit to be faithful to that person, you commit to
Mm.
love that person whatever they are,
Yeah.
whoever they are, whatever kind of personality they have,
Mm.
then you're not ready for that and you will blow it up. Kasi yun nga, yung romantic expectations mo is coming from these um fictional characters, fictional stories that are unrealistic.
Mm.
So I remember that the Bible, specifically in the book of Songs,
Mm.
um na to not awaken love until it so desires. Now, yung awakening of love, it I guess it should have to be that the Lord will be the one to awaken that love in you.
Okay.
And it, it means that we shouldn't be relying on the advice, on the patterns of these kinds of
Sources.
yeah, sources, but we should be grounding ourselves in what kind of love we should be praying about, we should be um, uh, expecting siguro. Yung
Yeah, it's fine.
biblical, which is nga yung ano, yung binigay din ni Vel na verse, which is what true love is, 'di ba?
Mm.
True love is uh kind, love is kind, not
Mm.
selfish, not ganyan ganyan. So and also I also remember yung that true love is yun nga, it's not a feeling, whereas compared to true love, romance is just a fleeting feeling. So we need also to ground ourselves that true love is more than just a feeling, it's work. You really have to work for it. It's not just a story that you pick out from these sources and
Mm.
do it in your life, real life, diba? But
Mm.
it's something that you have to work on your own, to work with the Lord, so that you can work out this love that you have, that the Lord has awakened in you. So that's for me.
Amen. Gusto ko lang
Mhm.
dagdag,
Mm.
sobrang quick lang. Kasi sinabi naman lang din naman ni Naya, definition ng true love, or definition ng love, an unconditional commitment towards imperfect person seeking their highest good, which often requires sacrifice. And the most
Mm.
important, it results in God's glory.
Mm.
Emphasis on imperfect people, which is usually in these sources parang nandun na lahat. Wow, parang achievable ba yan? But really, it's we are surrounded by imperfect people. Even ikaw na naghahanap nung perfect love na yun, hindi ka perfect. I'm so sorry.
Siguro, for me, I'll branch off then with what Maya said.
Mm.
Kumbaga, or like to summarize na lang din siguro. Yung sa Philippians 4 verse 8, yung whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, emphasis, whatever is lovely, good repute, if there is if there is any excellence and if anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things.
Okay.
So, yun yung um basically yun yung what biblical love can also be. It's pure, 'di ba? It's excellent, it's admirable. And versus the worldly kind. Well, not all of them is pure, like obviously.
Mm.
So yeah, that's something other than something to think about when you're struggling then siguro with whether should I consume this media, this type of media? Is it's good to question yourself then, is it honorable? Is it right? Is it pure, Ninay? Is it pure? Ayun lang po.
Mm. Alright. So where do we go from here, sir?
Well, actually, I was gonna ask, what are your thoughts, John, on what they said?
It's like, okay, the materials, okay, so we're been going back na a lot of times the material we consume is impure. And I'm not saying that in the sense na nako may malicious sensual content or whatever. Sometimes it's just impure because that's just the nature of the world, right? You know, it has a lot of its ideals and thoughts and what have you in it. And it's just, you know, just like other fictional content, you know, even down to not so specific mga video games or whatever na ginagawa natin, we have to be aware that most of these content are created by imperfect people. It has a lot of their thoughts and feelings and beliefs and whatever ideas imputed in there. So we need to be on our guard na if there's anything there that you can enjoy things, you know, just as it said, 'di ba? I forgot exactly which verse. You know, there's a lot of stuff that is permissible, but not everything that's permissible is beneficial. That said, we are allowed to enjoy things, um, even if they're not perfect, because you know nobody creates anything perfect except for the Lord. So you know, just enjoying life on Earth is not bad. However, yeah, yun lang. We have to be careful with it. Na talagang, how does it affect how I feel? How does it affect how I think? Um, because all of us are composed of like, okay, the easiest thing is like, okay, if you are physically consuming junk food, you're gonna see that on your waistline, right? You're gonna feel that in your guts. You're gonna feel that in your health. So, similarly, if you're feeding your heart and your mind junk food, which occasionally is not gonna kill you, but if you do it on a consistent basis and you kind of really let that sink in, nakakasira din ng health ng heart mo. Nakakasira din ng health ng thought processes mo. And you gotta fill that up with healthy stuff. Diba? So what are healthy things? What are health? Because healthy things are real things. It's like vegetables. Vegetables aren't always the most exciting or the most tasty things, or like real well-made cooked meals, diba? It takes, well, Nina, I would know, right? If you're gonna cook something that is not only tasty but it's actually not terrible for your health, it takes effort to make something. So you gotta buy good ingredients. Maglilibor ka to like, you know, prepare the dish and everything. Unlike instant stuff, which is like, okay, off the shelf, just throw water, boil, whatever. It takes effort. It takes preparation. Kailangan ka mag-sacrifice ng sweat and tears and time. Just like in real life. So like, when you're feeding stuff to your heart, it's not always gonna be the easiest thing. Oftentimes, mahirap siya, di ba? When you're feeding stuff to your mind about relationships, about romance, healthy romance, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be always sweet. You know, again, like food, sometimes may bitter sa food, sometimes may sour, may salty. Di ba? Iba ba yung flavors kailangan papasok dyan? But, you know, it makes your whole thing correct, complete. It can't all be just sweets, because that would be disastrous for us, right? That would kill us. So that's also just kind of like, you know, romance and relationships. So, mahilig sa sweets kasi yung babae, di ba? So, parang ganun din, di ba? Yung romantic material. So, pero hindi din pwede. Di ba? So, hindi yan pwede. So, ganun yung thought process ko. It's like, you know, you gotta develop a healthy emotional diet. Yeah.
I think the thing is, it's like consuming media, whether it's like TV, books, games, etc. It's neutral in of itself. No?
Generally
Speaking, it's neutral in of itself, and I'm a firm believer that what man creates comes from the creativity that God has given us. Comes from God din naman. It is man, however, also abuses that that creativity. And I remember watching this video recently that said she stopped as a Christian, she stopped listening to many secular songs because the content of those songs started to really just, she felt like it was clouding her mind. Sabi nga,
Mm.
and then she quoted uh, one of my favorite passages, there's power of life and death in the tongue, and those who enjoy it will eat of it. You know? Meaning to say that those who enjoy certain things, yung content na yun din yung parang kinokonsume mo, yun din yung lalabas sa'yo. In the same manner, parang it is okay to
Mm.
parang in moderation to like read fantasy. That's fine because we all read some sort of fantasy. I love fantasy books. Women might
Mhm.
have romance novels. There might be even dating sims and whatnot. There is a level na parang just for entertainment purposes, it's fine. But then you have to balance it with, if you really want to have good balance, I guess in the way that John was saying kanina na parang kailangan you want it to be healthy for you, then you have to balance it with consuming content that is also godly, no? No, that what does that mean? Spending time reading the Bible, reading scripture talaga, no? Or um, spending time in small groups studying the Bible, right? So, or listening to a Sunday message, things of the Lord. My mom would actually spend a lot of her time just listening to praise and worship songs,
Mm.
because what we consume also becomes what we that comes out of us, no? As Tina mentioned earlier, that's why I think that passage came out, and
Mm.
I believe that's Philippians 4:8, right? Now that we are to, if there was anything excellent or praiseworthy, we are to think of such things, because the more we think of these things, the more we it consumes us, no? So if we consume things that are um, biblical or of the Lord, if they are excellent, they're praiseworthy, they're noble, they're pure, they're right, if these are the things that we are focusing on, then what also comes out of us is things that are of equal measure, equal value, as
Yeah,
opposed to,
noble, pure, etc.
yes. No, so this is not me saying bawal na manood ng TV, bawal na magbasa ng mga fictional books and whatnot. This is not me saying that. No, but what I'm saying is that in as much as we are consuming this media, we should also consume things um, that
Healthy.
are of things above, no? Sabi sa
Mm.
Colossians 3:2, we are to set our things on things above and not just on earthly things.
Yeah.
Yun. So John, any last thoughts or yeah?
No, I wanna give the last thoughts to our ladies.
Sige. Final words before we end this session for tonight. Let's start with Vel.
Hello.
Hi.
No, I think final thoughts for me. There's nothing wrong with consuming, romance content, but always keep your heart in check. Kasi yun nga, diba? The Bible tells us to guard our hearts and, as emotional beings. Wow.
Mm. Emotional
That's
being.
something that we need to guard our heart against. So, ayun.
Thanks, Vel.
Thanks, Belle.
Ninay.
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding.
What?
Okay, so basically, um, you guys all said everything na. Like, you should balance everything. As ano nga rin, in the comments,
Mm.
sabi ni Eri, balance is key. And, because these things, yun nga, parang junk food. You take it, it's like a treat, but not really a treat that you should be taking daily. And, ano pa ba? There is an underlying issue that you may be escaping from. that you need to
Mm,
check then. It's also ano, from Vel nga, keep your heart in check. Kasi is there something in, if you're in a relationship, is there a meat that a meat a need I need that
may gutom.
sorry, di ba
Nagugutom.
Someone's
is there
hungry.
a need not being met? There you go.
Ah, yeah, a need not being met
Being met
kaya you're junking food on this.
on these romance novels, on these fan fiction.
Yeah.
Ano pa ba? Are you escaping from something, 'di ba?
And
Sometimes it can be that issue. It can also be for me before um kasi nga these fictional men are safer. They're safer choices than the actual men. So it's like I choose them na lang. Para I'm okay with them and you, Jesus. Parang ganun. It's so messed up, of
mm,
course, which shows yun nga, it's not really
yeah,
the right thing. So yeah, you have to check then. You have to check yourself.
have courage.
Yes.
Okay. Ikaw, Maya.
Natawa ako sa ano. I'm okay with these and Jesus. Tapos si Jesus parang, ayun.
Imagine it.
Last, last thoughts. Ayun, siguro for ano, for single women, yeah, it's crucial that we check our hearts kasi baka yun nga yung sinabi ni Ninay na baka may underlying issue diyan. And but also yun nga it might lead us to idolatry, to uh miss not trusting the Lord with what he has for us in store.
Mhm.
It's when we focus on romance kasi um it really takes um our sights on the real world, and we might get trapped in that, and therefore we could spiral into something else, right?
Mm.
So yeah, it's crucial that we always keep our hearts in check, especially with the Lord, kasi si Lord lang naman yung ano si Lord lang naman yung nakakapag-satisfy sa mga needs and wants natin. So as a woman, um yeah, we have needs and wants, but if we focus our eyes on the Lord, he will give that and more, and that's it.
Nice. Nice. Very nice.
Final comments, I think, from the what's this? From our chat. Okay, so according to Trebs, he remembers from Dr. Chuck Missler that just reading scripture not necessarily to understand or to find a hidden message, but to just shower in His Word, so to counter the stuff that we tend to
Mm.
normally consume. So I think this comes from the idea. I like this idea because sometimes, like, when I consume media, there are times I see God's work in the media
Mhm.
that I'm consuming rather than focus on the things that are unbiblical. I see the things that, oh, these are biblical, these parts, and it gives you that, I guess, that discernment, that you know which ones are healthy and which ones are something that you need to be conscious and aware of.
Mm.
Doreen says obsession and addiction may result, and I think one thing that we have to understand with addiction, and I think Nina put it here earlier, is that
Mm.
when there might be an underlying issue that we're not dealing with, because normally addiction is not the problem itself, it's usually
Mm.
what people are running away from. That's why they got addicted to something, no? So if, let's say, for example, in the case of our topic, women falling in love and getting addicted to these fictional men na hindi na nila nakikita in reality, then they might be running away from something in their lives that they're not really dealing with. And so something that's also something to look into. Sabi ni Eri, I think the danger is always in overindulgence and a lack of grounding in reality, which is that's why I think the recommendation really is to balance it with the word of the Lord, scripture, Ayun. So I guess that's it from the comment section. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you ladies for giving us your insights. I think in a sense, men and women are not that different in terms of we might manifest our addictions and our desires differently, but and the things that we are dangerously or parang indulging in the dangerous things, pareho lang eh. It might look different, but in a sense, it's also the same. And so I think at the end of the day, if I were to summarize, I think it's really just finding that balance in scripture and word and what is biblical, na hindi lang tayo nakafocus on one thing, because it also can lead into idolatry then, diba? And I think that's also important that we as Christians, geeks who have a tendency for addiction, are able to call each other out, and are able to support each other. Hindi siya parang pinapagalitan lang natin, but there's a reason, because we want to bring people to and point people to each other to Christ, diba? We want to point each other to Christ. And so I think that's important. So if you're the type of person who needs that kind of community or safe space, wow, plug. Join us here at Level Up. We are always looking for people to listen to. We want to create a safe space for geeks and Christians alike to coexist and mingle, and to understand what is a better way of dealing with these things, but still enjoy the hobbies that we enjoy. So we are on Discord. Can I ask one of the guys to post our link on Discord in the comment section? And we are also, of course, on Facebook. So please go ahead and like our Facebook page, join our Facebook group, and watch out for more content from us. Alright. So I guess that's it for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a lovely discussion. The ladies have really helped, and we will they've illuminated us, even as men. Yes.
Illumination.
So yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys in April. Hopefully we have a new topic that you guys will enjoy. So that's it for now, and see you there. Bye bye.
Bye, Yasumi!